You can have any color you want as long as it's black. Henry Ford is famous for not only this quote, but also putting America in the driver's seat. Some time ago, I watched a documentary on Henry Ford. I wanted to learn more about his life. I learned a few things that someone studying business or American history might find interesting. Today, I will share information over three things. First, we look at Henry Ford's life. Then, we talk about the beginnings of his company. And finally, we explore his contributions to the car manufacturing. First, let's discuss his life. Henry was born on a farm in Michigan, July 30th, 1863, to William and Mary Ford. He was the oldest of 6 children, and he was the first person in his family to be born in America. From a young age, he had an interest in machines. At age 12, he spent most of his free time in a machine shop he equipped himself. He didn't like manual farm work, and he looked for ways to use machines to do some work for him. Ford biographer Vincent Kershaw remarked, Henry was drawn to machines, and with those, he would transform the world. At 15, he built his first steam engine. He married Clara Bryant on April 11, 1888, and they had one son. In 1891, he got a job at the Edison Illuminating Company, and they became friends with Thomas Edison. Within 2 years, Ford became the chief engineer. Now that we have discussed his life, let's talk about the beginnings of his car company. Ford started small in the car business. He built a 1-cylinder gasoline engine in 1893 on a wooden table in his young family's home. Ford biographer Richard Snow explains, when Thomas Edison saw Ford's engine, he slammed his fist down on the table and shouted, "Young man, that's the thing. You have it. Your car is self-contained and carries its own power plant." Edison encouraged him, and Ford used the engine to create his first car in 1896. He called it the quadricycle because it had 4 wheels. Edison was good to him, but Ford was determined to start his own car company. So, in 1899, he resigned from Edison to start the Detroit Automobile Company. But after 18 months, Ford had spent all the investors' money, but still had no car. His company went bankrupt, but he found someone who started to back him again. Alexander Malcolmson partnered with Ford, and together they found 12 investors who pulled $28,000 to form a new venture, the Ford Motor Company. 2 of these investors were John and Horace Dodge. You might recognize their names because they would later go on to create their own car company that still produces cars and trucks today. Ford's company may have started small, but it did not stay small for long. Now that we have talked about the beginnings of his company, let's talk about Ford's contributions to car manufacturing. His most lasting contribution was the assembly line. The Model T was Ford's first vehicle. It was hand-built and sold for around $850. When Ford started using the assembly line to create cars, he reduced the car cost from $850 down to $300. Ford was constantly looking for ways to reduce cost and increase efficiency and production. For example, he only used black paint because it dried faster than any other color. He could paint cars faster and produce more. Ford sold over 15 million Model Ts. Today, the Ford Motor Company is worth $143 billion and employs over 186,000 people. The Ford F-Series has been the best-selling vehicle in America for the last 46 years. Henry Ford died on April 7, 1947, at the age of 83. In conclusion, we looked at Henry Ford's life and his early love of machines. Then discussed the beginnings of his company, which started small but grew to be very large. Finally, we looked at Ford's contributions to create efficiency in car manufacturing. Over 100 years later, the Ford Motor Company sells vehicles all over the world, and you can get any color you want.